Welcome to What's the Deal with Sam? Starring Sam Lilly. Join Sam as he discusses a wide variety of topics.
Bad
Now let's start the show.
Thank you. What's the deal with light switches? They're like dark switches with the ground. Now I could walk back towards the camera way over there to just do the rest of the episode, but then I wouldn't be next to the light switch. There's also that light switch. Really, I got my bases covered right here. That just means I'm going to sound like I'm kind of far away, because I am. So, the thing with light switches is, their actual function is fine. They switch lights on and off, like I've shown. You've all seen. You're now all familiar with this, even if you haven't been before. And it's a thing where I guess it's just weird that's the placement of light switches can be strange. Like, this room is not that big. Like, where that camera is pretty close to that fucking wall. So I go in here, I hit the switch. I can pretty much feel my way around to the switch if I need to turn the light on, if it is, say, off or something. And that's fine. But in, like, bigger rooms, you go into and there's, like, multiple light switches, like, that's a totally different thing. Like, for one thing, if this room had another light switch in it, what the fuck would be the point? Where the fuck would it go? I've got one door. They're so small, there wouldn't be any point to have another one in there. But in the bigger room, I get it, It's like, if the rule of thumb, I think, should be that if you're further away, like, you can't see the light switch from where you're standing, the other light switch, then it's probably a good indication. Also, if there's another door, yeah, put a light switch by the door, so when you go into the room, you turn the light on, right, if it's not on. Or if you're leaving the room, you can turn the light off. That's kind of a good rule of thumb to have. If you can see both light switches from where you're standing, maybe you don't need to have two fucking light switches. Maybe that's just that's fucking excess. That's fucking stupid. And you don't need that. Fuck that. Cover one of them up. Rip one of them out of your wall with rusted pliers. Whatever. Look, I can't be held accountable for your actions. And that's how I'm covering my bases legally. And another thing is, like, I don't know, the problem with the two light switches is when you do it, then you're like, okay, I'm going to turn the light on and turn the light off, right? But it's like, you flip the thing up and you're like, oh, the light's on. And then you go to the other switch and, like, you flip that one and it turns it off. If that one was already down because the light was off, and then you flip it up to turn it off, like, that fucking feels wrong. And then, like, you have to, like, then remember, like, if you want it to stay actually to function the way a light switch should work, where up is on and down is off, then you have to keep using the same one you used to turn the light on to turn it off, which if you walk into a room from one side, you turn the light on there, and then you're going off the other side, you want to turn the light off. You can't, from that side, walk over to the other side again and turn it off, and, like, maybe if you know the room well enough, that's not a big deal, you can find your way through in the dark, but if you don't, then you gotta have the awkward light switches, like, flipping them the wrong way to turn the light on or off, and it's a fucking hassle, and it just fucks with your head, and you're like, I can't stand it, I hate this, I have to rearrange them so they both work properly, and someone else just fucks it up anyways. Some other time you'll go back to them, and they'll just be fucked up again, and you're like, why did they do this? Why has God forsaken me in this fashion? And it's ridiculous, and I don't know, why do that, and why the double switch thing, and, I guess the idea is, like, I don't know, it's good to have it there so you can see when you're going into a room, but the idea, I guess, to me also is like, well, if the light is coming in from another room, like like this, right? And it's like, I have light coming in from here, I can probably find my way to this light switch, and it's like, if I'm in this room, I could probably find my way over to the switch with this light on. I wouldn't need to go and turn the other light on or something. But, like, I don't know, like, on the inside of the house, it's totally different. You think of, like, on the outside, it's almost where you need the switch, because, like, when you go into your room and it's dark, you're like, where the fuck is the switch? And you're, like, feeling around. And if the switch is down, like a double switch room, then you're like, fuck, I gotta, like, you're, like, hitting to, like, knock a switch up, but you can't, because it's already down, like, it's already up, so you're, like, going like this. I mean, like, it's up is what I meant. So you're going like this, like, why won't the light turn on? What the fuck? And, like, that's, like, annoying, and so you think, like, if you're already in, like, I can kind of see this switch because it's near the door and this other room has the light on. So I can see my switch here with the way the light works. That I can see that. But I guess that's why it would make the most sense to have the light switch on the outside of your house. Why isn't that there, Like, I gotta walk into the house, I can't really see the light switch when I open the fucking door. It's gonna be really dark because it's dark outside. So, like, fuck, I need to find the light switch. And, like, if it's on the outside, you're just like, boom, oh, light, I can see. I guess that's maybe part of why they got the porch light out there, too. And it's like, well, you turn the light on the outside of your house, and then when you go back into it later when it's dark, you can open the door and kind of see with the residual light from that light. Because, let's face it, if you have the light switch on the outside of the house, then you're going to have a bunch of fucking pranksters that come around and start flipping the switches on you and turn the lights on and off in your house. And you're like, what the fuck, is that a fucking ghost? Or is it some fucking asshole? And it's usually one of the two. They're not mutually exclusive. They're not mutually exclusive. But, typically it is one or to other. And that's probably why we don't have light switches on the outside of our houses anymore. Probably, maybe, I'm going to say definitely. Because I want to. And I already had a great tip about the rusty pliers bit, so you already know that I'm pretty much an expert on most of the things I talk about. What's the deal with light switches? Some of them are like the dimmers also. This used to be a fucking dimmer thing. You ever use a dimmer switch? Those suck. Like, literally dim the lights, and you do it, and it's like, oh, it's sort of, I can't do it with this anymore. But it's like, oh, it's like sort of darker now, like you have the fucking knob with it, and it's like, when do you ever want that? When do you ever want it to be like, I want to see less? It's like, oh, it's for mood lighting, like, whatever. Have some other lights on instead that turn on that lighting rather than just dimming your regular lights. Because then, like, how often do you fucking use that? How often would you use the fucking dimmer part? For what purpose would you need to frequently use the dimmer part where you couldn't just turn on some lamps or something? Like, come on. Eat my ass. And, that's... it's ridiculous. I don't know. The clappers... who thought that was a great idea? They should be shot. And, I don't know, like, I kind of, motion lights are okay sometimes, because you're like, you just walk by and it's like, oh, I feel like Jesus, the light just turned on because I walked here, which is, of course, reportedly what happened if you've read the Bible. You know that's what happened to Jesus all the time, so you'd walk around and light bulbs would turn on for him. And, it's just, those are kind of cool, and they're nice for, like, energy saving, or, like, nothing's moving here, so the lights are going to go off. Except when you're taking a dump in a bathroom, and it's motion lights, and you're not really in front of the sensor in a stall taking a shit, and all of a sudden the motion light goes out. You're like, oh no, how am I supposed to see where to wipe? It's like, I'm not. Do I risk getting out of the stall, trow down, or do I risk getting poo in said trow to open up and go out there and try to make the light go off? Do you try to throw the tube that the paper was on but keep the paper, and like maybe that'll trigger it? It's not a fun time. Not that I've been in that situation, but if I had been, I wouldn't like it. I think I just maybe I did have it happen once. I don't remember. And now I don't even remember. That's how fucking crazy I am. Whoa! And, I don't know what this was. I don't know, light switches, like, look, all things considered, I'm going to give them that benefit. They have some stuff over the motion lights, some stuff over the fucking clapper lights, some stuff over the fucking dimmer shit. I don't know. They're okay, but they're a little silly. They can be frustrating. I don't know. I feel like I understand them. Sometimes I don't. And sometimes you see switches like that, and it looks exactly like a light switch, and it doesn't even control the fucking light. You flip the switch, and all of a sudden you turn on somebody's fucking, garbage disposal, and you're like, Jesus Christ, what have I done? With this loud ass noise, you gotta shut off. You hit it, and like a garage door starts opening. You flip one of those switches, and then all of a sudden a missile silo opens up in the backyard, and you're like, Jesus, somebody should label these fucking things. God. Next time I go to a mad scientist's house for a party, fuck. Shit. So what's the deal with light switches? That they're like light swatches with the ground. What's the deal with sand? What's the deal with sand? What's the deal with sand? What's the deal